Alright, thank you very much. Hello everybody, it's your good friend Plausible here, and I'm back in action with another look at another movie that has come out not too long ago. Unfortunately, this one came out a little bit too long ago, but you probably missed it in theaters because it didn't last very long. And after seeing it, I do understand why. What movie am I talking about here? Of course, Sabotage. You know, speaking of sabotage, there's $1 million question we have to ask ourselves. We all understand something, right? And if you don't understand this, you're going to understand this now. Nobody knows how to make a perfect movie. As a matter of fact, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. I mean, there are some good movies, there's some great movies, there's some bad movies, there's some horrible movies. But at the end of the day, as long as you feel like these people did their best and put their hearts into it and all that stuff, you feel like you should give it a pass. Like, let it go, see it, I should say. Go ahead and see it. But the question you have to ask yourself often is not just what happens when a movie falls apart, but, no, actually that is the question to ask. I'm sorry. I am totally backwards here. The question is, when does a movie fall apart? You know? I mean, if people... One person said it right about this movie. This is not the Arnold we have come to know and love. He is not his normal self. Charming, funny, confident, has it together, you know, an all-around good guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. You know, Arnold has done those to death, and I would imagine that this was a chance for him to try a different character on. You know, let's be a little bit rougher. Let's be a little bit darker. Let's try something different, you know? And it was a good idea based off the Agatha Christie novel, and Then There Were None. This movie is about a team of DEA agents who, after raiding a drug cartel safe house, somebody was able, and it was the craziest thing I ever saw. You go into the drug cartel safe house, right, and there's this huge pile of money, right? Probably $1 billion, and I'm not exaggerating. It's a huge pile. They take 10 millions. What they do is they take the toilet off the seat, the toilet off the hole itself, tie this money into baggies, tie them to a rope, and throw them down the chute, okay? With the expectation that it'll hang out in the sewer. And they only take like $10 million of it, which is a lot of money, I'm sure, but not as much as they could have taken. And nobody thought, okay, let's just put some of that money in our pockets while we're doing this. Make it easier on ourselves. No, let's make it complicated, okay? So they take the money, they put it down the sewer, and as a surprise to no one, because let's face it, we knew what this movie was going to be about, when they went down to collect the money in the sewer, it was already gone. All right? And that's fine. That's not the real problem. Okay, of course, they're being investigated for corruption and stuff, like who stole the money. That's the first real question. Eventually, they start dying off. Now, what made me happy is that this movie was very strict on making sure you didn't know who did it yet. A lot of clues, a lot of things happening, but really no sense of direction or purpose. So it was very, very overwhelming to have to see what was happening, but not really understand or know what was going on. I liked that part. That was good, and it kept my interest. What I didn't like was, first off, the dark atmosphere. I understand you want to go dark, but do you really have to be so pitch black? I mean, there is dark, and then there's dark without entertainment. Where's a little bit of fun, a little bit of humor? You know, seeing these guys, these are supposed to be elite soldiers, but they're more like, you know, gang members, like Arnold says. You know, and there's a reason for that. The fact that they explained it worked for me. So everything's fine and good. What does a movie like this need? A good reveal. And they bomb that, and that's where it falls apart, and that's why it doesn't get to see it. It's because it's not just what they revealed, it's how they revealed it. And there were certain parts of the reveal that just didn't make sense at all. It's like, really? It's like, that doesn't really work. It's a more intelligent movie. Because believe me, if you're not watching carefully, you may not understand what's happening. They don't spell it all out in black and white, but they give you enough clues and enough ideas to tell you what's going on. But at the end of the day, when you finally see it and you realize, oh, it took me forever to get to this point, you'll just be disappointed in the end. I was disappointed. They could have done much better. They could have done much better. It all connected. It all worked out. It's a little confusing at first, but I actually like those movies because it keeps my interest because I know they'll explain everything. And I know it'll all come together. And they did something else that I really liked, and that is a character change. He starts off, he's a wild guy, he's mouthing off, he's a jerk, but at the end of the movie, near the end of the movie, I should say, he's more sensitive. He's more, with it and understanding that, this is the end, and he's very pensive. And it was an interesting change of character. In the end, like I said, though, it's a disappointing ending, and I think it's just they went in the wrong directions. They had an opportunity, and don't get me wrong, that was not what they intended. If you read the IMDb message boards, you'll know that there's other alternate endings. This one was kind of rushed. I mean, it fit. Don't get me wrong, it fit. But the very end of it was like, okay, guys, you've already explained everything. Let's end this movie now. But no, let's go for an extra 5 minutes and do an extra action scene that we didn't need. So I didn't care for that. That's okay. The movie worked in the beginning, fell apart at the end. I give it a pass, guys. I don't think it's worthy. All right, Arnold, I really hope you do better. I hope you get back to what we know and love about you. Don't forget where you come from, man. All right, well, that's it from me for now, guys. We'll see you at the theaters.